My name is Sarah, and today I'll be showing you how to set up a freestyle skateboard. Particularly, I will be setting up Ethan Young's Pro model, the spoon nose in the 7.3 size. And I haven't skated this board yet at all in this size, so I'm excited to see how I like it. But first things first, I tend to start with grip tape. I do go back and forth, but today I will be using DKL rubber grip. Start by cutting off a little bit at the end here. I'm going to save this for later so I have a little bit of grip to put on the underside of my skateboard. So I personally like DKL grip tape. I think it works really well for the product that it is. Oh no, it's a little bit shorter than I expected it to be. Whoops. But I do like to go back and forth. It helps my shoes last an incredibly long time. I would say the biggest downside to DKL grip is the gripping process itself. It is not fun. It's a bit of a pain. You do want to use a very sharp knife though. And typically you should cut it twice. Kind of have this starter cut. And then you just do this kind of second, cleaner, more precise cut, which is always really hard to do. Okay, that actually came out a little bit better than it normally does. Put some holes into the grip tape for my skid plate binding screws. There we go. All right, we have our slightly rounder nose skid. Put my machine screws in here and try to line them up with the binding bolts. They both catch a little bit. And then you can either use a screwdriver or a drill. I'm going to use the drill for speed. If you're going to use a drill, I would make sure that you put it on the lowest setting because you don't want to over tighten the binding bolts. You know, just go slow. Also, I recommend using your finger to hold the other side so that if it is spinning, it will help. Okay, next we move on to trucks. I've got some 1-inch Shorty's hardware here. Oh, is this Allen key? Oh, it is. I don't really have a preference between Allen key and Phillips head, but this happens to be Allen's key, which means I can't use my drill gun, and I'm gonna have to use the key that came with it. Okay, I'm gonna put some Paris trucks on the 7.3. That's actually exactly what Ethan skates. He skates his 7.3 Pro model with these 108 Paris Co trucks. So I figured that this time around I'd give that a try. I normally skate Bullet or Ace, but I figured since I'm skating Ethan's Pro model, I might as well set it up kind of like he does. At least the deck and the trucks. So when I skate the Bullets or the Aces on the slightly larger boards, the 7.6 spoon nose or the 7.75 Utah Fuji Pro, I actually do put, what are those? Riser pads. I do put riser pads on those, but Paris trucks are really, really tall already, so I don't think I need to do anything to make this setup taller. Next, we're gonna put the wheels on. Actually, I spoiled myself recently, well, a while ago, and I got myself a bearing press. So bearing presses aren't the cheapest accessory in the world. However, for someone who's always changing out their wheels and their bearings, or if you clean your bearings to make them last longer, it's great. it really makes the whole process a lot easier. So for someone like me who cleaned their bearings last night, I typically use either just standard reds, Bones reds, or the Bones Big Balls bearings. Those are probably my favorites. I just swiped these out of a different pair of wheels though. Using the bearing press is super easy. You just load it up like so. Put it in there and done. You have a perfectly pressed wheel in seconds without struggling. The bearing press also has a little hook on this side for pulling the bearings out of wheels. I spoiled myself by getting this, but I absolutely do not regret it. It's incredible. I'm also setting up the brand new Waltz wheels. We've got the same 54mm width, 97A, but it should be a much better urethane. We've got a new and updated shape and a retro callback to the original Snakes graphic from, I think it was 2019. So really excited to try these out. Since I've never skated this before with these trucks, I'm not sure exactly how many washers I'm going to need behind the wheels. Freestyle wheels are special because the bearing, instead of sitting in the center of the wheel, sits off to the side, right? And that allows the wheel, if it's nice and wide, to come up and cover this axle here for our rail stand tricks and cocos and all the fun things that freestylers do on a regular basis that would require covering up. The axle and the nut. Now, when you're putting your wheels set up together, you can use these little washers right here, to adjust how tall your wheel sits on the axle and how tall your wheel sits in comparison to the rail of your board. So you have a couple choices. You can either try to make it perfectly flush. You could have the wheels stick out a teeny tiny bit and kind of lean to the rail, or you could have the wheels in just a teeny tiny bit and kind of have the board tilt in towards the wheels. I personally like the board to tilt in ever so slightly. For the longest time, I used to try to get them perfectly flush, and then one time I intentionally put them in just a teeny tiny bit, just a little itty bitty rock forward towards the wheels, and it was just a lot more comfortable for me. So now I always do that. And I know how to do that on my other boards. I'm not exactly sure what it will take on Ethan's board, but I'm going to start off with 2 washers, and then if I don't like it, I'll just come back the next day and take a washer off. Same on this side. I like to grip the nose and the tail of my skateboard just to give me a little bit of extra control when doing Casper tricks. It doesn't really matter exactly when you put that grip tape on. If you want it to be like perfectly in line with the skid plate, sometimes it actually helps to put it on before you put that skid plate on. At this, I think I just want just a little square. Cut this. It is a shame that the grip tape ends up covering Ethan's name, but there's not that much I can do. This one sometimes I cut at an angle, but I might as well. I like it at an angle, and I do have this right angle right here. So whenever you're putting a fresh pair of trucks onto your freestyle skateboard, typically you want to upgrade these bushings right here because the standard set, the stock pair, are always way too soft. And typically you want a freestyle bushing to be closer to 99A, 100A, or 101A durometer, something rock hard, super, super hard. You can typically get those from your provider of freestyle gear. Unfortunately, right now, I can't get my favorite brand. I used to love the 100 or 99 Dodo bushings. They They worked really, really well for me, but they're not available anymore. So this time I'm going to upgrade my bushings actually to a pair of 96A Cruxes. I've never skated these. I don't know if they're good for freestyle at all. I just kind of want to experiment and see if there's any other bushings that work for me besides the really, really hard ones that I've tried recently. However, I highly recommend upgrading whatever stock bushing comes in your truck unless it already was upgraded, because I know, like Waltz Skateboarding, I know for sure that when they send a complete out, they upgrade these bushings that is already included in the price of your complete. But if you just bought like a pair of these from a local skate shop, you were able to find something small, then I highly, highly, highly recommend upgrading the bushings. And so when you're swapping out the bushings, it's actually a great time to just put a couple drops of some type of lubricant. I've got the Bones Speed Cream, which is for my bearings, but I just put a couple drops right here in the pivot cup, and that will stop or reduce the squeaking that you hear from brand new trucks, which can be so annoying. And if your trucks are squeaking in general, it's a great thing to do. Just put a couple drops of something like Speed Cream inside that pivot cup, and the squeaking should go away. And then the board is pretty much set up. I didn't tighten my bushings down. I actually want to roll around a little bit first, start to break them in, and then over time I will slowly crank on these and tighten up the bushings to hopefully whatever firmness I like or these bushings can handle. Like I said, don't know how they're going to perform. And then also, sticker time. Sometimes I put the stickers on before I put the grip tape on if I want the grip covering part of the stickers. But yeah, grab your favorite stickers, put them wherever you want to, and your board's pretty much complete. I think that's everything. I think it's ready to get out there and skate.
If I would have had the worthiness to be the perfect lover, would you stay under the willow tree when I asked if you would be? Would you be my Valentine? Would you be my Valentine? Still I lie within a memory, devoted as your lover. You could take my...
As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great day.
Would you be my Valentine?